It's 2018 and Romania is celebrating its centennial year, 100 years since the three regions of Romania, Transylvania, Moldova, and Wallachia, were unified. We're visiting Transylvania as a family and we're beginning in Brașov.
So we've just arrived in Brașov. It's a beautiful sunny day and we're on the main square right by the Biserica Neagră, which is over here. And here's the city hall behind me. And man, it's a lot different than it was 20 years ago when I was here. So much more developed and so many more restaurants and tourists.
Brașov as a city is about 800 years old. In around 1200, King Andrew reinforced the villages of Transylvania by importing Germanic people. They brought their language and culture and really built up the cities. So because of this, Brașov has a Germanic feel. We noticed this as we perused the main square and made our way to the apartment we rented. It was an old apartment in the city center with a shared courtyard. We found a market and plenty to eat nearby.
I know.
The council square with its council house is located at the heart of the city. Many activities such as concerts, protests, and strikes have been held on this square. In the council house, we found a history museum with artifacts from all ages since 1200. Their communist-era exhibit is particularly interesting and lays out the details of the 1987 revolt in Brașov, which preceded the Romanian Revolution in 1989. We joined the Walkabout Free Tour, which begins at the council square every day. Our guide, Alin, gave us a lot of interesting information about Brașov and showed us around. He told us about the Black Church, Biserica Neagră, near the square. It's called black because of its involvement with the Black Plague, and also having been blackened by the large fire that hit Brașov in 1689. Next to the church stands a statue of Johannes Honterus, an iconic figure of Brașov. He drew the first map of Brașov, which was used for 300 years, and also led the city-wide conversion to Protestantism. Just beyond the Biserica Neagră is the Rope Street, one of the narrowest streets in Europe. There's also an old section of the city wall with Mount Tampa overlooking. Tampa bears a Hollywood-style sign with Brașov's name. We moved on to the Sinaia Gate and St. Catherine's Gate, the last of 5 medieval gates that remains. Next, we visited St. Nicholas's Church, the first and biggest Orthodox church in Brașov. Unlike other Orthodox churches, this one doesn't have onion domes, but looks more like the other towers in the city. We easily found our way back to the main square, which was filled with diners and festivities. The following day, we explored more of the wonderful nature Brașov has to offer. A small creek runs along the edge of Brașov and up to Mount Tampa. At the base of the Telecabina visible from the mountain is a trailhead where you can hike to the Brașov sign.
Right now we're hiking up the Mount Tampa above Brașov. There's a sign that says Brașov right at the top, so it's about an hour hike to the top, and we're about a quarter of the way up.
At the top is a landing with a magnificent view. We stepped in the Telecabina for a quick and easy ride down the mountain. We were all pretty eager to try the local food we had heard so much about. Casa Românească was a restaurant recommended to us, so we gave it a try. We weren't disappointed. Our favorite of all favorites was the papinaș, which means godfather. The next morning, we boarded a train at Brașov station headed for nearby Bușteni.
So we met these two boys on the train, and we're speaking Romanian with them.
My name is Michael.
Michael, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They were keen to show us their English and made friends with our 9-year-old son.
Right now, we are at Bușteni, which is kind of the highest point that we've seen in the Carpathian Mountains. And we are in line to go on the telecabina up to the very top of that peak. You can see up there, you can see that there's quite a long line. We've been waiting here for about an hour and a half, but we're excited. Oh, almost 2 hours. But we're excited to be able to go up to the top and see the amazing sights.
The 3 hours in line was well worth the wait. Once inside the telecabina with about 20 other people, we were able to ascend to the summit and enjoy the incredible ride.
And we made it to the top! The setting is absolutely breathtaking up here. It's beautiful. It's covered with sheep. And there's just a beautiful, peaceful atmosphere up here with rocks everywhere and not very many trees.
At the top, something amazing happened. An old, simple shepherd approached us and greeted us in Romanian. Val was interested in interviewing the shepherd as part of his book research, and having learned Romanian years ago, I attempted to interpret for him. So, we conducted an impromptu interview and learned a lot about Romanian shepherd life. The trip back down the mountain via the telecabina was even better than the ride up. The next day's excursion was out to Sinaia, just a bit further down the Valley of Prahove from Brașov. We again took the train. We soon recognized that the train was quite full and we'd have to stand, but it was only about a 45-minute ride and the scenery was wonderful to watch. Our main interest in visiting Sinaia was to see the fabulous neo-Renaissance castle, Peles, set in the hills above the town. A short hike up the slope with throngs of other visitors brought us to that amazing place. Peles was the summer palace of Romania's German-born king Carol I, who ruled Romania from 1866 to 1914. Finished in 1883, it was designed by German and Czech architects, with later additions in 1893 and 1914. The construction team was quite international. Italians, Romanians, Gypsies, Albanians, Greeks, Germans, Hungarians, Turks, Polish, Czech, French, and British all worked on the site. We joined a large tour group in English and toured the palace, ogling the amazing woodwork, stained glass, chandeliers, and paintings that make up this incredible structure. Peles has obviously become a well-known tourist site. Thousands of visitors were present, and the lines were also long here. But the weather was bright and comfortable, and the setting was unbeatable. Romanian merchants and musicians gathered around the palace to make good use of the public attention. We walked back down to the town and sat in the park to cool off and rest. One last Transylvanian town we visited was Sighișoara. Its historic center is listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Sighișoara is another German-style medieval town built up by the Saxons who were invited to Romania in the 1200s by King Andrew. It's a great example of a medieval fortified city and hosts a yearly medieval festival in July. Central to the town is its clock tower. It's 64 meters high and once served as the town hall. A history museum is currently located inside. Next door is the birthplace of Vlad Dracul, the medieval king who, with his son Vlad Țepeș, provided the inspiration for Bram Stoker's 19th century novel, Dracula. And so there are plenty of Dracula souvenirs everywhere. The clock tower overlooks the city, and the city wall includes also a number of watchtowers which can be visited. Another interesting site is the Scara Acoperita, a set of covered stairs also called the Scholar's Stairs. Originally built to allow people to reach the church on the hill and the school despite bad weather, only half of the original stairs remain. We stayed at an inn right next to the old Citadel Square in Sighișoara. It was a bit more on the pricey side for Romania because of the high tourist demand, but the location and views were excellent. Sighișoara gave us an interesting view into Romania's medieval past. Its colorful architecture and artisan shops were charming, but it's very small, so only a day was needed to see it all. Transylvania, on the other hand, could require a year to explore. The incredible mountains, forests, and alpine villages are ideal for travelers interested in nature and history.